10 o'clock, we will call this meeting of the Jefferson County Water Authority to order. Roll call, please.
Terry Thomas,
Present.
Kevin Dennis, Greg Camp,
Here.
Michael Christopher,
Here.
Dusty Hosna,
Here.
Mark Johnson.
Here.
All right, we have a roll call. Pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the minutes from the regular board meeting of July 18th, 2024. I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Approval of the bills, item 5, total bills, $207,141.26. Any questions on the bills? Otherwise, we'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Greg Camp,
Yes.
Yes.
Dusty Hosna.
Yes.
Mark
Yes. Yes.
All right. That takes care of that. No old business on the agenda. We move to new business. First item is our liability insurance renewal, and we welcome Tony Becker from Custom Insurance.
I don't know what all that I sent to Michelle that she included in your packet.
All of it.
Okay, I'm
It's
sorry.
a whole lot of it.
I didn't intend for her to include all of that. I thought I should let her pick and choose, but if you'll indulge me, there's a few things we need to talk about. As you know, you guys added a lot of property values last year. So you have a very heavily property driven insurance policy. It would have been worth remarketing that this year, except, and here's why I did not do that yet. If we move to, like, it's a big enough property risk, pushing $30 million in insured value, that there's only a few, and given that plus the kind of specialized nature of the buildings and equipment, there's only a few companies that will do it. The Water Authority, because it's not technically a public entity, is not eligible for MOPERM. I don't think it would be eligible for MIRMA. I'm assuming, Greg, you probably know better. If we move to Travelers or a Chubb, which is who I would probably go to for a large office building with similar values, they're going to want to put a percentage deductible on your buildings.
Isn't that becoming more of the standard?
It is more of the standard, but there's not too much that hail is going to do to damage that facility. So really what I would be looking at is a tornado probably. But if you, just for instance, the main plant is valued at 15 million, and the percentage deductible is not going to be a percentage of the loss. It's going to be a percentage of the building value. So basically, if anything happens to that place as a result of wind or hail, it has to be, the damages would have to exceed $150,000 before the property would pay, or property policy would pay out. It's not a great deal for you, especially considering that Chubb and Travelers would not be that much cheaper. So really the player here is Missouri Rural Services, which is a program manager based out of Jefferson City that we write a lot of small to medium size public entities with. They have the capacity to write those kinds of limits, but they use an insurance company called Ameritrust as their actual underwriting carrier. And Dusty, you may have dealt with some of this since we have Herculaneum with Missouri Rural and Ameritrust, but they had a major computer problem in June, and they're almost unable to do anything right now, and they're just now getting back online. So even if I had submitted everything to them, we wouldn't have a quote today. So what I would like to do is, assuming that they get back online in the next few weeks, which is what they're telling me, we can remarket this essentially anytime during the fall and see if that would be a better deal. But Missouri Rural is still not putting percentage deductibles on things. So you guys could have a flat $5,000, $10,000 deductible probably with them. You can go higher, but my experience has been the higher you go, the less return there is on declining premium. So that's kind of where the sweet spot is with them. But that's what I would suggest, because if you look at that summary sheet that I did in Excel and just looks like a column of numbers, the Continental Western policy went up by about 10% this year. Almost all of that is attributable to an 8% bump in building values that they put on everything across the board. Now I know we just updated those building values last year and we substantially increased them, but I don't know if we increased them to where they really needed to be. So it's kind of a question for you guys as to whether you think an 8% bump is just right, too much. Should we go back and argue that they should not have done that? That especially that new collector well, I mean, that thing was really just built. I can't imagine that the reconstruction cost would have gone up 8% in a year. What's you guys' thoughts on that?
So if I'm looking at this right, the policy total is what, 119, 132?
Yep.
Just so we know what.
And
we're
after we
talking about.
added the new collector well, it was 108 and change last year.
Okay.
And then I haven't got the final pricing back yet on the separate earthquake coverage, which we need because the Continental Western policy has a separate sublimit for earthquake of only $5 million, which if a large earthquake hit would not come close to doing what you need it to do. That's going to go up proportionally. I expected to have that back before today and I just didn't. And a similar situation on the employment practices, which as a result of a couple of claims, Continental Western's no longer offering that coverage this year. So we're going to have to go to a separate market. That's been into the underwriter for a couple of weeks, and I think she was on vacation or something. So,
okay.
But my educated guess is that premium will go from it was about $827 last year. I'm expecting that because we have to go to this other carrier, it'll be about $5,000 this year.
Right.
What do you guys think on the building values?
Well, just my opinion, I mean, the valuation that they have in there, you mentioned the 15 million on the facility itself, and then
it was 13.9 last year, and an
Yeah.
8% bump would take it to just a hair over 15 million on the main building.
and then if you add in the other pieces that they put, location 5 and 6 is another 16, 17 million dollars.
Yep.
And then everything else is, 135, 125, 94, 94, 94.
Yeah, and those
So,
are the meter vaults.
right. As far as the valuation, I think we're relatively comfortable with it.
Okay. The problem if we wanted to argue that it's too much is I don't have the expertise necessary to go back and argue, it's not going to take you to that much money to rebuild this facility because I can't just run it through a commercial cost estimator like I could for, say, this building. Like I can put in the square footage and the type of construction. It'll give me a number as to what it would take to rebuild this building.
I don't think we could rebuild the plant for 15 million.
I don't think so either, but it was insured for a lot less than that just a
Yeah.
couple of years ago.
Right,
so.
right. Yeah, we addressed that then. So, and even if we're talking about just the new collector well and we needed to start tomorrow to build a new collector well, I think that number goes up by probably 20%. So,
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine what could happen short of a catastrophic fire at the main plant or something like that would actually completely damage these facilities. It's not going to burn. The collector wells are essentially designed to be underwater half the time. You've had some lightning losses, most of which have been addressed. The structures are highly resistant to wind and hail damage just because of the nature of what they're made out of. A catastrophic total loss at any one of these buildings is hard to
Neither
imagine.
did I. Explain better. The phone's running. No.
A catastrophic total loss for any one of these buildings is hard to imagine short of an earthquake.
Yeah.
Like a major earthquake.
yeah, and flood or earthquake, I think is what we're up against. So,
And you can't really get flood coverage on the collector wells.
yeah. Well, we put it next to the river for starters, so.
Right.
Does anyone have any questions for Tony? Because I think the recommendation at this point is to renew the policy as presented.
Yeah.
And then while we're still seeking additional earthquake and employment practices insurance,
which will be forthcoming in the next few days.
once we have that, we'd have that for you at the September meeting. And then in the fall, we'd be able to remarket with perhaps
Yeah.
the Samara trade,
Ameritrust.
Trust.
Yeah, and that they're a good company. They just were not really able to do much this summer
Because of
because of
things on their end.
I don't know what happened, but it was pretty serious.
Thoughts?
Good.
You're good. Terry's good. Dusty's good. Mark's good.
Okay.
Michael's good. Okay. I would entertain a motion then to renew the policy as presented, knowing that we'll have the two pieces forthcoming and that we would look to remarket in the fall.
That's my
Motion made.
Motion,
Second.
motion and second. Roll call, please.
Terry Thomas,
Yes.
Greg Camp,
Yes.
Christopher,
Yes.
Dusty Osmond,
Yes.
Mark Johnson.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
Very
gentlemen.
good. Thank you, Tony.
If I need any signatures on to process the renewal, should I get together with you?
Yes, please.
DocuSign, okay?
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Any
All right.
other questions I can answer while I'm here?
All right.
No, not unless you want to give us a check.
How much you want?
Well, here's some check. Thank you, Tony. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Moving on under new business, we have our investment schedule in the packet that is for informational purposes only. The big item, of course, is the proposed budget for 24-25. This is something we'll be taking action on at the next meeting. This is in here for your review and comment. Michelle and Miranda did a very good job of summarizing some of the highlights and requests, starting with a 5% salary increase for all employees. Also the certifications that will be coming, an increase in the 401k contributions by $1,000. The bonuses would move from a $100 bonus to a $500 bonus. It's a net bonus, so we round the number up to be able to net the employee a $500 bonus. Health, dental, and vision paid 100% by JCWA. The proposal is to bump the monthly health insurance premium amount that the Water Authority contributes up from 500 to 600, which help cover some of the increase in health insurance costs for anyone on a plus plan, spouse, child, or family. That is built into the proposed budget. An increase in personal services from 93 to 10.5. Most of the expenditure are the same, with the exception, of course, of things like electricity and chemicals, which is where we're really seeing the largest increase. One, because of just some market adjustments, but two, because we're just making more water, which is great. We mentioned the insurance concerns that we might have. Everything's going up, especially the cost of insurance. Capital outlay is not really any different than anything we've talked about in years past. There is the SCADA project that we're sharing with the city of Festus. Festus is paying the full amount with the exception of a $98,000 grant that is coming from Jefferson County. There is no cost to JCB2A, but it does have to be reflected in the budget. The rehab of well 1 at 479, and we're still waiting to get coordinated with Luca at Lane on a start date, but they're looking for the fall still.
Yeah.
Of valve replacement, a new update, an update to the server for the SCADA, and then an update to the lighting in the plant. So on the whole, I think the work that Michelle and Miranda have done is excellent. I don't know if you've all had a chance to look at it, but you have time between now and our next meeting to take a look. But I think the proposal sitting in front of us is a very good one. It's not, again, something that we're going to take action on today. It will be at the September meeting. Any questions on that or things that you perhaps would like to see changed that we can plug in now prior to the September meeting.
Just out of curiosity, who do we bank with?
Our banking is all through First State Community Bank.
Okay, because we just switched to First State Community. Bank,
Okay,
so.
yeah. The city of Festus is with Midwest Regional, but Water Authority is with First State Community Bank. And they take pretty good care of us. Any other questions? Hearing none, I would move on to resolutions, and this is to amend the current fiscal year budget as part of our year-end wrap-up. If the clerk would please read the resolution as it is presented here.
Resolution of the Jefferson County Water Authority of Estes, Missouri, amending the 2023-2024 fiscal year budget and establishing an effective date.
Do we have any questions or concerns about the budget amendment?
Nope.
I see a lot of heads shaking no. I would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution as presented. Can we have a roll call, please?
Greg Camp,
Yes.
Michael Christopher,
Yes.
Dusty Osmond.
Yes.
Mark Johnson,
Yes.
Terry Thomas.
Yes.
All right. Under reports, again, for informational purposes only, trial balance, general ledger, revenue and expenditure report. Jeff's plant manager report is in there as well. Jeff, anything you would like to add?
Just a couple quick things. The Burns and Mac are gonna be bringing the electricians out here on the 28th. When they did that arc testing before down on our control panels, I guess they found a couple little things, so they're gonna go down and adjust those breakers. So we'll be shutting down the plant for about 4 hours that day. It will not impact the cities at all. We're still planning the shutdown for the 24th through the 26th unless something happens with one of the cities where we can't shut down during that time. But we really want to get the aerator clean and the slaker and all that clean before winter, because as hot as it's been, winter's just around the corner. So we want to get that knocked out. And then I just wanted to bring up real quick, we did have a mishap at the treatment plant over the weekend. Nobody's hurt, and I'm still investigating and kind of putting things together. But I will be drafting a complete board report for everybody on what happened, what we did about it, and what we got to do so this doesn't happen again. But the important thing is nobody was hurt. And, you know, equipment can be fixed, but people can't necessarily be replaced. So you guys can all look forward to that.
Just, and so everyone knows, Jeff did notify me over the weekend. We rolled a bobcat. They were out doing some grubbing around the pond.
Yeah.
And the operator was not injured. We did manage to retrieve the bobcat and some minimal damage to it.
Just they got it started this morning, so the
Okay.
Bobcat does run.
Okay, so, but just wanted to let you guys know, and if there's information that when those items come in, I'm more than happy to forward them to you. But Jeff did keep me fully looped in when the incident occurred and any developments since, so I appreciate that, Jeff.
Okay, thank you.
Questions or comments from the board of directors?
I'm happy.
24th through the 26th, is that August?
Excuse me, that is September, I'm sorry.
Hopefully we have pumps back by then.
So we do have the pump replacement will be happening. Danny said in the next 2 weeks, but we need an actual schedule from him, but
Okay,
we'll let you know before one of our pumps is taken down. But they're starting with 8, so I mean, we would still have pump 10,
yeah.
I would expect by that point.
Yes, I recall the pump might be an issue, and if you would just kind of keep me posted on that.
Mhm.
If we have to push this date back, we can. You know, it's not necessarily, it has to be done like those 3 days, but that's the best window we're looking at so far.
Mhm.
Last year we did it in October. And we barely beat the cold weather, because that next week, that's when it kind of hit the fan, and so we're trying to do it in September this year instead of October, because we almost hit it close, so
Okay,
you just let me know.
Yeah, we don't know when McNutt's could be taken out of service, so.
Yeah, I know that's another factor, so just kind of let me know what's going on, and we'll work with both cities, that's what we do that, you know. So.
All right. Any other board of director comments?
Nope.
All right, very good. At that point, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion,
second.
second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you all, gentlemen.